amigos, friends, welcome back to another time with Dunieski Otano, and you're ready to learn English? Ready to learn English? Yes, you are. Okay, today we're going to be learning about conditionals, how to use conditionals in English. Okay, so there are three types of conditionals, but I'm not going to tell you anything now. I want you to watch the explanation and understand it, okay? And then we're going to come back and talk a little bit more about it, okay? So now, enjoy the video. And hey, my friends, here we're again, and today we're going to learn about conditionals. In English, there are three types of conditionals, okay? So we're going to see each of them, and then we try to understand how to use them and when to use them, okay? So the first one that we have is conditional type 1. Type 1 is the conditional that is possible. It's called the real conditional, okay? So the structure that we have for this type of conditional is simple present and simple future, okay? And then in the simple future section, we can use will, can, and may. The first example that we have, if it rains, I will stay home. If it rains, I will stay home. So here we have the section of the simple present. You see the third person singular here in the verb rain, and then we have the future with will, okay? Or we can say, I will stay home if it rains. So there's a difference in these two sentences. They express the same, is the same idea, but here we have a comma. You have a comma here, you see, a comma that we use after the if statement, okay? Because when you speak, there's a pause, okay? So this comma is a graphic pause, okay? So this is the way you read this sentence. If it rains, I will stay home, okay? So notice that when you put the sentence with will, the sentence in simple future at the beginning of the sentence, then we don't use a comma here, okay? So the next example we have is if I study, I can pass the exam. Notice that here we're using can, okay? If you take a look at the class with permission, remember about permission? We talked about can, using can in permission. But here we have another use of can, which is ability. So it means that for me to pass the exam, for me to have the ability to pass the exam, I need to study. Okay, so this is something that is conditioned by this. Okay, so if I study, I can pass the exam. Okay, this is basically future because I haven't studied and I haven't taken the exam yet. So that's why this is future. Okay, that's why we put here general as a general statement, simple future. Okay. Or we can do the same. We can put the sentence with can at the beginning of the conditional, and then the conditional sentence, and then if I study at the end of this sentence. Okay. Notice again here there's a comma after the simple present sentence, and if you put the simple present sentence at the end of the sentence, then you don't need to use a comma. Okay. The next example is, if it does not rain, I may go to the beach. Again, if you go back to the lesson where we studied permission, you're going to see that may is used for permission, but in English, we also use may for possibility in the present and in the future. Okay? So, if it does not rain, which is the same as doesn't, okay? So you can use the contraction doesn't. If it does not rain, I may go to the beach. Okay? Here, you don't need to put or again because you already know that we can put I may go to the beach if it does not rain. Okay? And then we don't use the comma. Now, type 2 is the one that we know as the unreal conditional. It's not real. It is possible only in theory. Okay, so we have the structure here is simple past and simple past. Okay, this is even easier than this one because this one has two different tenses, and here we have the same tense, but be careful because the past in English is difficult. Sometimes it's a regular verb, sometimes it's an irregular verb. Okay, so here we're gonna use could, would, and might. So we use could because could is the past of can. We use would because would is the past of will. And we use might because might is the past of may. Okay, so we're gonna use exactly the same sentence, but now we're gonna make it unreal. Okay, so we have the first one. If it rained, I would stay home. You see, notice here is almost the same sentence, but this is real and this is unreal. So we go here from the present to the past, and from the future to the future in past. Okay, so this is a little more advanced. This is for a little more advanced students. We have to understand that would is used for the future in the past. So this is basically past, but it's unreal. So it's like a dream, okay? If it rained, I would stay home, okay? Now the second, you can use the second sentence. It's the same thing. I would stay home if it rained, okay? So notice here we use the comma, the same example as these three. Same example, same thing. We used to use a comma if this if statement is the first one, okay? Now we have another example. If I studied, I could pass the exam. So you see here, present past, present past. You see here, could is the past of can. Okay, so like I said before, these sentences are basically the same, but now we are using an unreal conditional to express something that could be possible in the future, but in theory, because it's not real. It's not real. Do you understand? I hope you understand. So we can also say I could pass the exam if I studied. So it's the same thing. Okay. Now we have if it did not rain, I might go to the beach. You have here does not, and the past is this did not. Okay. And then we have may, and the past of may is might. Okay. So if it did not rain, I may go to the beach. Okay. Now we have conditional type 3, which is too late. There's nothing we can do. It's a little too late for this. Okay, it already passed. There's nothing we can do. Here is for the present and the future. Here is for the future, but it's not real. And here is a little too late. Okay, it's already passed. Here is something else that I have to add is that this is subjunctive mood. You have to understand a little bit about that before you can completely know how to use the subjunctive mood in English. But this is what you have to understand is that is in past, present and future, past. This one is a little more complex because we have to use the past perfect, okay, and then we have to use a perfect tense, okay. Why is a perfect tense? A perfect tense is a tense that has the auxiliary have and it has the past participle, okay, of the verb. I'm gonna show you, and now we're gonna continue using could, would, and might, but it's gonna be accompanied by another word. Here we have, if it had rained, I would have stayed home. Now notice here that here we have the past, and here we have the past perfect, and the past perfect is had plus the past participle. That's the past perfect, okay. And here we have a perfect tense. We have would, that is here, but now we have to use have, the auxiliary have, and then the past participle of the verb stay. So this is a perfect tense, okay? And this is too late, okay? It never rained, and I never stay home. That's why it's too late, okay? The next one is, if I had studied, I could have passed the exam. It means that I didn't pass the exam. I never passed the exam because I never studied. So you're just kind of regretting not having studied. You know what I mean? Okay, here it's too late. There's nothing you can do. You didn't pass the exam. The next one is, if it hadn't rained, I might have gone to the beach. It means that it rained and you couldn't go to the beach. That's why you are like regretting that it rained. Do you understand? You're regretting that it rained. Okay? So this is too late. Here, it never rained. Okay? Here, I never study and I never passed the exam. And here, it rained and I couldn't go to the beach. Okay, so this is regrets. Okay, now we have this here. Sometimes people use contraction. Instead of using would have, they say would have, would have, would have. Like here, I would have stayed home. I would have stayed home. They also use could have, could have. Instead of could have, they use could have. Like here, if I had studied, I could have passed the exam. And they also use might have, instead of using might have. So here, if it hadn't rained, I might have gone to the beach. Might have, might have, might have. Okay, so here we have all the contractions from did not, which is here, we can use didn't. So if it didn't rain, we have another one. I would here, I'd stay. I'd stay, I'd stay. And then we have it had, it'd. Like here, if it had rain, okay? We also have I had, I'd, if I'd studied, can you hear the D? If I'd studied. So this is what people, when they speak, what they use when they speak, okay? So I hope you understood conditionals and that you're ready to use them in your daily life speech. Have a great day. Hey, my friends, how was your practice? Did you learn something today? Of course you did. Okay, now I think you're ready to use the conditionals in English. Okay, the 3 type of conditionals. Don't forget, type 1, type 2, and type 3. Okay, practice, 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 because practice makes perfect. Very important. Don't forget to subscribe in this video. Don't forget to subscribe and leave your comments. Okay, so I hope to see you again in another class with me, Dunieski Otano. Bye-bye.